Hello there, true believers. This is your friendly internet Spider-Man, and I'm going to do another review. And this is going to be on an actual graphic novel by Alan Moore, the writer of Watchmen. I did do a Watchmen review, and I'm going to do another one. I really do like Alan Moore's writing, although I don't really like Alan Moore himself. He seems kind of like an asshole. But anyway, this book, really a collection of 3 books, was written by him and his wife as the illustrator. It's called The Lost Girls. Lost Girls. Okay, and you can see that it's broken up into 3 stories. The Lost Girls takes place during the Victorian times, around I believe World War I. I wish I was really bad at history. It takes place around the assassination of the Archduke of Austria, and I think that's what sparked World War II. I'm not exactly sure. The one with the Germans. Anyway, Alice, Dorothy, and Wendy from the popular children's stories Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, and Wizard of Oz, all are meeting under the same roof in an Austrian hotel, and they're all on vacation. Alice is much older. She's about around in her 50s to 60s. Dorothy is around her 20s, and Wendy is around her middle age, around her 30s. Wendy is a wife. Alice is just a retired old woman, and Dorothy is wandering around the country trying to explore the different areas and having adventures. And now this book, Alan Moore himself considers pornography. Others would consider it erotica. I consider it erotica, but Alan Moore says it's pornography. Solely because, that's just, he had an explanation. There is a video where Alan Moore talks about the Lost Girls, and he gives an explanation how he considers it pornography. But I consider it erotica because it's more classy, and it has a great story, has great art, and it's very distinctive. Here, I'll try to show you some art without actually trying to accidentally show you some nudity. There actually is a good source of nudity in here. I can actually tell you the different kinds of sexual acts that are in here. Let's see. Incest, homosexuality, male and female, bestiality of a few accounts, and underage pedophilia. That's what consists in this book right here. Now, this is the front. I'm not going to show you the back because the back is rather inappropriate. I don't really want to, I don't exactly know the limits on nudity on YouTube, but let's see here. Okay, this is good. Okay. As you can see, it has a very distinct kind of a pastel style, very soft tones but very bright, almost like the old paintings of that particular area, kind of like a Van Gogh or a Monet, but very psychedelic in a sense. And what happens in this story is that they all meet each other and they talk about their lives. And what Alan Moore does with the stories is he makes it out to be the whole things that happen to Wendy, Dorothy, and Alice are really metaphors for sexual exploration and maturity. Talks about how Dorothy was living on Kansas, and each character's story is told differently in visual aspects. Wendy's is rather conservative, but rather kind of very interesting. Let's see, I'm trying to think right here. Where is one? Okay, I want to find a good picture that would be suited for it. Okay, well, instead of me just rambling on, looking at trying to look for a good picture, really, I'll tell you some of the things that are going down with the characters. Okay, Alice talks about how her stories is she becomes a lesbian. She's an old lesbian, and she's what introduced the different lesbian acts between Dorothy and Wendy. And Wendy is rather repressed. She's very English, very conservative, and through the tellings of the story, through the 3 parts, she actually starts breaking out of her shell and becoming more sexually aware and comfortable. And Dorothy just becomes more aware of the different acts that can be done while they all tell each other their stories. And here we go. This is kind of like, this is how Alice tells her stories. She tells hers through oval-shaped panels, and they're rather psychedelic and strange, very much like the story on how she tells it in the book by the original author. And she talks about how really all of the things that happened to her were really just different instances that led her up to being lesbian. Let's see, and Wendy has her story is told through rather blocky, very straight-laced, conservative kind of stories, and a lot of shadows. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, we can see right here. There's Peter. And you can see how her story has been told through rather standard tiers of kind of like the comic book panels. And Dorothy likes to tell her stories through very wide, open scenery, much like Kansas. And I found it actually rather interesting with the different ways of telling the stories. If I could actually find Dorothy's story right here. Here we go. Rather wide, and see right now it's kind of in black and white because that's how her life was in Kansas. And it's very interesting how the tornado was really a metaphor for how her first masturbation session came to be. And making it like, and it makes sense, with the whole exhilaration of how her first time with herself would be, very exciting, very strange. And let's see, here it's a rather nice picture, rather wide, open space with Dorothy, and she talks about how all of her different people that she meets, the Lion, the Scarecrow, and the Tin Man, were all really just plain farmhands on the story. And how that I'm getting a little distracted from the book. I'll put these down. Okay. Anyway, all in all, it's a very good book. I really enjoy Alan Moore's writing, and the artwork is just beautiful. The collection itself is rather expensive because it's hardback and it's in a case that carries them all. I paid around $80 for the whole thing, but it's definitely something. If you are interested in good art, good stories, it definitely is a good investment to put into your library. Definitely not really appropriate for more kind of closed-minded comic book readers and children. This is definitely not for children. This is definitely an adult graphic comic book, and I actually like that way. I would not. I keep my comics for posterity, and I'm not going to introduce them to the more mature works like Heavy Metal and The Lost Girls and Black Hole until they are much older, or until they've heard of it. But that is just me. So anyway, I just want to say that it was this has been your friendly internet Spider-Man, and that was The Lost Girls, and the Lost Girls review. And I suggest picking it up if you have the money to spend. You don't necessarily have to, but you should at least, if you know somebody who has it, check it out and read it for yourself. Just don't rip the pages, because people get really pissed off when you rip their pages. Anyway, this is your friendly internet Spider-Man saying good day and Excelsior.